topic 2 is solving. You have a quiz on Wednesday. That's in 2 days. Your test will not replace your quiz. So whatever you get on Wednesday stays in the grade book. So that means you really need to know what you are doing. Okay. If you can add and subtract, then you can solve because it's just one additional step. And that step has nothing to do with algebra 2. Okay, so at the top of your paper, unit 14B, topic 2. There will be 3 steps. Number 1, you have to find a common denominator because we are still adding and subtracting. Number 2, once you get all of the common stuff, then you will see that your denominators cancel out, and I'll show you why. Okay. And then step number 3 is you will just solve for the variable, whatever letter is in your problem. That might be I factoring and making a chart. That might just be simply adding something and dividing something. Okay. So I have 5 examples. We're going to go until we understand what we are doing. The most important thing is you have to understand how to find a common denominator. And if you don't understand that, then you need to ask questions because you can't move past there. Solve for variable. Okay. All right. So example number 1. Example number 1 says v plus 2 over v minus 4 plus 7v minus 42 over v minus 4 equals 1. What do I notice I have so far? So actually, let's back up. Now, what we did last week was just this. We were just adding or subtracting, okay? Now we are adding in a third term. So now I have to have a common denominator between all 3 terms, not just 2 of them. So the easiest thing to do these 2 have a common denominator already? Then we need to see if we can make this one have a common denominator. This is as easy a problem as I can give you because there is no denominator, correct? So I can make it whatever I need to. So what do I need to make this denominator? What does it need to be? V minus 4. And if I make that the denominator in the bottom, where else do I have to put that same exact thing? In the top. Okay. Now, is or are all my denominators the same? Are they all exactly the same? So that's where step 2 comes out. It can cancel all my denominators, but they have to be exactly the same. Okay. So when I cancel all my denominators, what I'm left with is just what's on top. So I have v plus 2 plus 7v minus 42 equals, if I have this 1 touching parentheses, what should I really be doing? Distributing, but 1 times anything is just the anything. So v minus 4. So first of all, let's look on the left side and see what can I combine over here. So what is v plus 7v? 8v. What is 2 minus 42? Negative 40 equals v minus 4. So this is just straight up solving. There's no algebra 2 tricks or anything in here. So I need to move all my v's to one side. So if I move this v to the left side, so I subtract v, what is 8v minus 1v? 7v. And how do I get rid of this negative 40? I'm going to add it. I'm just doing it in 1 step. You can do it in 2. What is negative 4 plus 40? What is it? 36. How do I solve for v? What's my next step going to be? Divide by 7. So what does v equal? 36 over 7. Mm-hmm.
So you see how you have like 8v up there?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought 7 plus 2 was 9.
But there isn't 2, it's just 1. 1v plus 7v is 8v.
Oh. Wait,
That
so
2 goes with the
2?
42. What's positive 2? So
Oh,
these two can combine, and then these two can combine because they're like terms, right?
I see it.
Okay. All right, let's go do another one. Example number 2, we're just going to keep working examples till we catch on to what we're doing, right? So example number 2 is going to say 1 over x equals 6 over 5x plus 1. So I need a common denominator. What is my common denominator going to be? 5x. So this one has an x, but it's missing the 5 that the one on the right has. So my common denominator is going to be 5x. This is my common denominator. Okay. So I have to go make everything in here have a 5x in the denominator. So just looking at the first fraction, what do I have to put in the denominator to make it a 5x? A 5, and if I put it in the denominator, I put it in the numerator. The second one, 6 over 5x, does that denominator need to change? No, so it stays. Plus 1, what's my current denominator right here? There's nothing there, so what needs to go there? 5x, and if I put it in the denominator, I put it in the numerator. Do all my denominators say the exact same thing?
Yes.
So what can happen to them? I can cross them all out. So what am I left with is 5 times 1, which is 5, equals, because that's what's next, 6 plus 1 times 5x. What's 1 times 5x? Just 5x. So now all I'm doing is basic solving. What do I need to move?
6.
How?
Minus 6.
So subtract 6. So I have negative 1 equals 5x. How do I get that x by itself? Divide by 5. So what does x equal? Negative 1/5. This is the only new step, is finding a common denominator for all 3 pieces, okay? Let's go do one more, and then if you understand, you can start working, and if you don't, we'll do another one, okay? All right. Example number 3. So example number 3 is going to say 5 over 3x minus 4 equals 2 over x plus 1. So first thing is I need a common denominator. Do these have anything in common? So this is just like we talked about last week. They look completely different. So what do I have to do to find a common denominator? You're just going to bring them together. So my new denominator is going to take both of these and come together. So my new denominator is going to say 3x minus 4 times x plus 1. So all I did is I took both denominators and brought them together. Okay. This is the denominator I need. So just look at one piece. Well, I have the 3x minus 4. So what is this denominator missing? So I have to put the x plus 1. And if I put it in the denominator, where else do I put it? In the numerator. Let's look at the other side. It has the x plus 1. So what is this side missing? 3x minus 4. And if I put it in the denominator, I put it in the numerator. Does anybody have a question? Be brave and ask, because I promise somebody else has that question. Do you know where I got these from? When they look so completely different, we just bring them together. Now, do my denominators say the exact same thing? Yes, so I can cross them out. So what do I have left? I have 5 parentheses, x plus 1 equals, because there's an equal sign, 2 parentheses, 3x minus 4. What am I going to have to do first to solve this? Distribute. So I'm going to have 5x plus 5 equals 6x minus 8. All I did is distribute those numbers in front. Now we are just plain Jane solving. So what do you want to do first? Okay, so let's move the 5x over. How do I move a positive 5x? Minus 5x. So that would give me 5 equals x minus 8. Now what has to be moved next? The minus 8, because we got to get this x by itself. How do I move a negative 8? Add 8. What is 5 plus 8? 13 equals x. Is x by itself? So here is my final answer. Do we need to do one more? Are you sure? Okay, I just have one question then before I let you go. We won't solve the whole thing. I'll let you solve it. So write this problem down. 5 over x equals 7 over x minus 4. Because I think there's going to be one thing that tricks you in here. I'm going to make one circle. I want everybody just underneath, like I did above, to write what your common denominator is. Everybody right now, that's all I've asked you to do. Don't change anything else. Just write what your common denominator is. Who has their common denominator? I'll come check it. Explain, that's the tricky part. Okay. No, did I explain what's your common denominator? Yes, you may keep going. What's your common denominator? What we think it is over here? No. That is correct. Keep going. That is fine. Yes. No. Where's your common denominator? No, not yet. Okay. I don't know what that says. All right, here we go. Listen to me. Listen. So I have an x and I have an x minus 4. These things look nothing alike. Why do they look nothing alike to me? Because one of them has an attachment, okay? You can never make a common denominator by adding or subtracting, ever. So if I just wrote a minus 4 here, that's subtracting. I can't do that, okay? So do you see how this one has nothing and this one has a minus 4? So the only thing I can do to find my common denominator with these is to do what? Bring them both together. So what will my new denominator say? X and x minus 4. This is my new denominator. You can never add or subtract to get a denominator, okay? So with this new denominator, I would like for you to solve this problem, and I will come around and check your answers. Then you will be able to work today. All right, one more time, here's the answer. This is my distribution of the 5. Y'all, looky here, freeze, okay? I'm serious about this. This, writing it like this took all of what, 10 extra seconds? But now I know exactly what has to go next to 5 and has to go next to 7. Stop trying to use a 1/2 inch of paper and just write, okay? You've got to get all of this written down so you know what you're doing. Are there questions? I will walk around and help answer questions. You should be in your packet on page 2. That's this one that has all these levels on it, okay? Y'all truly start on level 1. Don't say, oh, I know how to do the first one, I'm moving on, because they are different. So I would at least do every other problem. So that means at least 3 in a level, but I think you're silly if you're not doing them all, because I guarantee you the quiz came from this packet.
What is the quiz again?